I grew up in the area, and it was a tough community. The housing was what you'd call low income. The community had drugs around it. It was a difficult situation.
Monticello has always been, my home. The neighborhood really declined, as I said, in the latter part of the 80s and the 90s, and because there was just so much drug activity. And when you're younger and you're a kid, you don't pay too much attention to it because you're always on the go. You're playing sports and you're in the park, you're interacting with other kids. As you get older, you start to see more of what goes on.
I first met Mateen when he was 12 years old. I was a coach of his brother's basketball team. Mateen, as he grew up, he had life challenges, and it made him better as a person. He faced them.
I've known Mateen all of his life. He and my son were the best of friends. I've seen him turn his life around 100%. He chose a life at one time that was detrimental to the community, and he realizes that.
As far as my own history, I've never been a drug user myself. In my early 20s, I got involved in selling drugs. So selling drugs led to being incarcerated, and being incarcerated on several occasions. As I have got older, I began to really notice and think about, things that I've done in the past that weren't so great, and thought about, well, what can I do to make things better?
But he came back now and says, hey, I want to be an asset to the community, and he truly has.
Trash just seemed to be collected, and everybody was just throwing trash. So I began to pick up the trash, cut the grass. As I began to clean up some of these yards that are in my direct area, I became aware a lot of these sidewalks were needed some work. So I became aware that the city had a sidewalk program. So I've done some research and got information. And in 2 years, we took and installed 36 connecting sidewalks. So on about 4 blocks, we have all new sidewalks.
Well, the city of Clarksburg has a sidewalk program citywide. Mateen took it to another level where he really wanted to focus in his neighborhood. He became a liaison to the city. He's really provided an opportunity for the city to come on board, as well as myself personally, to show support and to provide any assets we can as a whole.
As I started doing sidewalks, I've had great support, from the city, and we've done multiple cleanups the past several years, and without the assistance from the city, a lot of these cleanups would not have happened, or it may have taken even longer to happen.
I met him through a mutual friend, an employee in my office. He had gone to a Christmas dinner, family get-together, and said, I really want to better my community. So he showed up in my office and said, hey, I want to do this. And the more he talked, the more I bought into this vision of the small community garden. I thought it wasn't going to be anything major or anything huge, but it turned out to be this massive ongoing project, not just a small community garden.
I started seeking donations and assistance from people in the neighborhood and other businesses, and explained to them, what it was that we wanted to do. So when it was all said and done, we took a $1,500 grant, and with in-kind donations, the whole project ended up being about a $150,000 project.
Nobody told him about the talent he had growing up. And that's just connecting people as a businessman, saying, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. And he's really can delegate tasks and pick out who the key people are and what their strengths are going to be on that project. And it's an amazing thing. With one person, I heard this thing this past week, it's a hallucination in your mind until you share it with somebody else, and then it's a vision.
Usually when you come to somebody with ideas and things that you like to get done, it's always, well, man, that's too much, and I don't know if I can help on that, and you're thinking too big, and you need to tailor it down. Larry said, we need to think big.
And when they told me their dream, we started to think bigger. They were doing it based on a zero budget. And when we started to throw around numbers like $15 to $45 million, the whole vision changed. We looked at potentially what can we do with a community center? What can we do with soccer fields and a park and a water feature and new housing? He wants to bring that community to the next level to help the next generation that's coming up.
It started out, Mateen came to me and asked me to work with him.
We started talking about, it'd be nice to have a community center, because these kids, they don't have too many outlets to go to, and if you don't give kids an outlet to do something positive, it's going to turn into something negative.
we decided to turn this into the Kelly Miller Community Center. We're hopeful that the community will get behind us and we'll be able to restore the gymnasium in the building and restore the building to what it used to be, a center for opportunity. And we're hopeful that we can go back and restore some of those things that used to be done in this building to help the young people today.
For as big as a project that it is, the Kelly Miller building itself is a small part of the M.O.R.E project in general.
We oftentimes tell children, don't do this, don't do that. So we're trying to say, hey, we tell you not what to do, we're going to give you something to do. I think the community is really rallied behind Mateen and the efforts that he's trying to do to clean up the community. He has a vision of what he wants to see done in the community. I think he's a wonderful young man, and I think he's going to accomplish what he's trying to do because he works hard at it and he pushes others to try to get his goal done.
One thing that I'll be able to sit back and know that, like I said, I've done everything that I could possibly do, and I've helped to give these kids something that they don't have.
He leads by example. He inspires people by being the first one in and the last one out and working hard to make things happen. What makes the M.O.R.E project successful are actually the people involved. People like Mateen and Jim Griffin and a number of others who actually are from the community that want to make a difference.
When you do a community project, you always think, and you always want as much involvement from the community as possible, and a lot of times you don't get that. We have to do our part as adult citizens to provide for the kids. It's been positive and it's been productive, and it seems to be getting better.
But MVB is setting the pace for us. They're putting their money out front there. They're not just behind the scenes, they're leading by example. And if the MVB is an example of what the community can do, we'll be very successful.
There's a renaissance going on in the Clarksburg area, and MVB's right in the middle of it. We're making a difference. We're loaning money. We don't do CRA for CRA to check a box. We do it because we want to make a difference.